Going live. Hello and welcome everybody to this very first fundraising episode of the podcast. My name is Morgan Guigon, owner and founder of South Florida Tornado Chasers. Here today with Christopher Estep, who you see on your screen right now, and is screwing around. You can see he has something on his head. But what I can assure you guys today is first, we have a whole new setup. I have a camera right there, no longer on my computer. I have a microphone and a stand for the microphone. It's as simple as that. Now, we're not only going to be a lot more organized, but thanks to your help and your donations, we are also going to look a lot more professional and be ready for season 2. Now, Christopher, how are you doing?
I'm good, except my son is trying to get ready to move the camera. Oh my god. Stop! You know how many people are watching that? Quit! That's something new. Don't do it no more. Stop it. Anyway, I'm doing good. Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it for episode 12 of the podcast, everyone. My mom felt ill. So, yeah, she was diagnosed with some blood clots in her lungs, so we're praying for her better recovery. But she's still fighting, though. She's getting up and moving around, so she's doing good. So we're all doing okay. I'm glad thank you for all your prayers, everyone. Back to you, Morgan.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you everybody so far for all the help with the fundraising, sharing it, donating, as it's because of you that we've been able to get some of this great camera gear and audio gear, and we're only going to get better. I know Chris would like a new microphone, and sorry, I have some chocolate on my lips.
I would.
You can wonder why I'm single.
No balls right now.
People wonder why I'm single. I thought ladies liked chocolate. I don't like my milk chocolate. Got it, ladies.
Hey, he's eating chocolate.
I'm single, ladies. But, Chris, tell them about what you would like to see come out from this fundraiser.
Stop for a second. Sorry, Morgan. What was the question again?
What would you like to see come out podcast? I'm not from the podcast and from the fundraiser.
What would I like to see come out from the podcast? You're breaking up, Morgan.
Not only the podcast, but the fundraiser in general.
Well, I would like to see come out of this podcast is, maybe different ideas as well as how to fundraise. During this fundraising podcast, it'd be good to get some more ideas on other ways to fundraise to help with the upcoming chase season for next year. And also, I would like to, get more microphone as well. I don't know about your high-tech microphone that you got there, but
Yeah,
I
real
don't
high-tech.
think I ever have an office for it. But I'd like to meet some different people and raise money for new equipment, and because I also need a new microphone, maybe a better webcam. So anyway, that's what I like to see come out of this podcast. Especially meet meteorologists and former storm chasers too. Excellent. All right, back to you.
1 second, I'm actually sending a quick email to somebody we may have on the podcast in future. Thank you.
You got your little assistants there, don't you?
The bloody camera, mate. Jesus fucking
Hello.
Christ.
Okay, time for the Jeopardy song. No, 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 no.
No. It's gotta be more like, I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Oh, no,
Oh
not this. Oh,
Lord.
please.
Oh Lord.
Folks, don't worry, he's a little baby.
No.
It's alright, folks.
People all over the world are
Because I
watching.
can tell you for sure. Good morning, Vietnam. As simple as that. I need somewhere to plug this in.
What?
Alex, my long extension cable that I have. Grab that. Just do it. Thank you. Big thanks to the background assistant, Alex, who's putting up with my pain in the butt. Because right now, Twitter's having some problems where they won't let me post anything from my computer, so I have to go through my phone or my iPad, and it's a lot easier to copy and paste from my iPad than from my phone.
I'd like to add for this fundraiser I'd like to add for this fundraiser that if anybody would like to buy a copy of my show, $10. You can Twitter that to Morgan, and then he can get back with me, and I will send you a copy. Send the check. Let him know that way or you can put it right to our fundraiser account. So just let him know. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, the DVD is $10.
Actually, one of our reward levels gives you the DVD and a ton of other great things.
That's true.
Give me a second here, and I will flip to our fundraiser page. Let me just.
Okay, sorry. Who sees that?
Alright, here, give me a minute. I'm trying to pull up this. It's a pain in the butt, I tell you, not having Twitter on my computer, because I'm so used to having Twitter on my computer to just be doing things.
Yeah, he's gonna be showing you guys 50 million different things. So, mind the podcast. Clifton, please.
I can tell you it's going to be a lot of fun when our special guest Quincy comes on, because we're going to have a ton of fun talking about the active and ongoing severe weather threat in Kentucky and Tennessee right now that will be moving into the New England area tomorrow, which is currently his chase area after returning from the returning from
I'm looking at wow.
After returning.
A lot of wind reports down in Kentucky.
Yeah, they also had a pretty good reported tornado down there, cone tornado.
What?
Sorry if I'm not looking at the camera too much because I am trying to type things on my computer and pull it up at the same time as talking to you guys. So
I
my apologies.
there's
I can be a man in the air tonight.
the podcast.
Oh Lord. Here, let me actually flip it back to me so that you guys have something to yell at. View campaign. I can see it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. Alright, so here everybody, I will quickly share this. Do a quick screen share. So this is our... I have to Google your pain in the butt. So this is our GoFundMe campaign. As you can see, that is my beautiful face. What a horrid screen grab. We are currently...
Oh,
I will just skip down. You can read all that. We currently have 9 reward levels. And currently we have a very special deal going on one of them. And throughout this episode, this fundraising episode, we will be having a lot more special deals going on. But right now our first one is you will receive all the previous awards, which is $5 thank you email from both Chris and I. An email. $10 is an email. And us thanking you on the podcast. 20 is all the previous awards. And you get to choose a topic, which personally I would go for. $35, you will receive all the previous awards, and you will be given access to the pre-show discussion that Chris and I have. And let me tell you, those are a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that you guys don't see that we also talk about how much of a pain in the butt you guys are. I don't mean that. I love you guys. Anyway, 45 is a signed DVD, which is Chris's own DVD, signed by both Chris and I, and you get all the previous awards. 50, which is our current special, is a signed picture and DVD and everything else. We only have 25 of those, so grab it while you can. For $80, and this one I can tell you most likely will be going down. This one and this one will be most likely discounted during this episode. For $80, you can become a guest on an episode of the podcast and a full blown out special guest. Or you can sponsor an episode if you're a business, and then you get everything else. Then for $125, this also may go down depending on how I feel. There's only 5 of these. You will receive all the previous rewards and have unlimited communications with Chris and I during chase season. Then, this one, which I personally believe is the best, $150, you will receive all the previous awards, and you will be able to sit down and have dinner with me at ChaserCon 2015 in Denver, Colorado. There's only 2 of these because there's only 2 nights where I'm going to be willing to sit down and have dinner with you. But if the demand is up, I can bring it up to 4 because I can include 2 lunches. If the demand is extreme, I can bring it up to 5 and include a breakfast. But it depends on what you guys demand. So check out Twitter throughout the episode to see these change and hopefully get one. Because trust me, we are doing some fantastic things, and we can't do much more without your help. And this is what I believe is the biggest way that you guys can help us. Because you're donating directly to us and showing us that not only do you care, but you want to help us and you want to see us expand and continue with the podcast. So I will stop screen sharing and you guys see my beautiful face again. So now also we will be able to, during this special episode, you will only be getting discounts on things if you are watching the podcast or checking the Twitter while we are live. If you are not doing that, the special deals will be gone. So until then, you guys are going to have to be watching. And also at the same time, we'll be doing live updates on the current storms in Kentucky and Tennessee. And I just got one on Twitter. A funnel cloud has been reported by law enforcement in the northern part of Fayette County in northeast Lexington, Kentucky. Funnel cloud reported. There is a tornado warning in the area. So those areas need to take cover immediately. So a quick little update, and I will pull up the National Weather Service behind here.
You know, my previous history with the chase of Kentucky, I've noticed that state is very hard to chase in. It's so hilly. How many hill turns and up and downs you got to go? It's really tough to do.
So right now, a lot of tornado warnings around Lexington, Fayette, and Kentucky. A lot of tornado warnings in that area right now. And I will pull that up and show you guys.
I'm pulling up the GR level. GR level 3.
Alright, then you can pull it up on radar, because I'm just going to use the National Weather Service's radar. So right now you can see here, and it's probably not screen sharing because I have to present to everybody. Right now, Lexington, Kentucky is right up here. 3 tornado warnings. 1, 2, 3. It is this one that is tornado warned and has a reported funnel cloud on it. I will pull up the exact wording of the warning momentarily.
You want me to screen share?
Yeah, go ahead and bring that up. And we can turn around. And here. Perfect, grill level 3. Alright, zoom in on the next one up the line. That one has a reported funnel cloud on it. Not that one, the next one.
Which one?
The one
Back here?
Yes, that one. Has a reported funnel cloud on it.
This one here?
Yes.
We're talking Mount Sterling and all, Jeffersonville, Camargo, and all them would need to get ready to take cover.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
You think you can pull up a velocity on that?
A velocity?
Yes.
Give me a minute. Which one? I got 4 base velocities. Oh, there's a base velocity, storm relative velocity. Which one?
Base velocity. The highest resolution velocity you have. Yes, that one.
Dude, I'm still. That one?
What tilt is that on? Tilt 005. Go to the previous one.
Go to the previous one. On it.
The last one you showed
no,
me.
that's not it.
I'm just looking at the tilt.
Sorry. Yeah.
Alright, yeah, it's the same.
Okay, I know which one you want. Yeah, it is. There you go.
I'm just trying to see the tilt. There we go. That's what I want.
One just.
There. there. They just canceled the warning, so let's look at the next one down the line. The
Yeah.
one that's coming up on Lexington right now. That one. Well, here, let's just look at that one real quick. Strong rotation, it looks like. Definitely some very strong rotation right in there. Definitely something that
You
needs to
got
be
some strong
watched.
rotation.
Yeah, you see the strong rotation? Red and the greens touching.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, strong rotation, but it looks
here?
like there may be one small couplet, but overall it looks like it's gusting out. But still something, if you're in the path of this storm, West Liberty, please be taking cover immediately. This is a highly dangerous situation, and you need to
Especially
be in cover.
at night.
Another one,
Which one? The other one. Oh, there's one behind right here.
I do not get why that cell that was previously tornado warned and they stopped the tornado warning on, why they haven't reissued a tornado warning on it. As rotation has re-strengthened again, and it looks like it just went through a cycle. They just severe thunderstorm warned it. But they didn't.
Oh, they did?
On it. Yeah, zoom out a little bit. Zoom out, zoom out.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Yeah, that one. Let's get
Wait, which one?
That one,
This
that
one?
one, that one. The one north of Winchester. Back a little bit. Back. Right there, right there.
Hang
You
on
see
here.
that one
Let's
north
get
of
the flip.
Winchester? Right now, some strong rotation and places such as Mount Sterling and Camargo, you guys have to be ready. Also looks like a significant hail core on this storm. Oh yeah, very significant hail core on this storm. Hail up to tennis ball or softball size is extremely possible. And Chris, if you could pull up velocity on this, that would be amazing. Here we go, just pulling this right up. Frankfurt and Lexington, you have to be on the lookout for the next one, though. The next one on the line is also... Yeah, look at that. Some very good rotation in there. Definitely should see a tornado warning on that soon. But we don't see it just yet. Right now, they're kind of in a radar hole. So radar isn't that great. But it's still good enough that we can see it. Go the next one up the line, Chris, that is tornado warned and is heading into Lexington. Other way. Other way, other way, other way. Other way. Turn around, turn around. Back, 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 back. Back. Other way, other way, Chris. Christopher. You have to go the other way. You keep screwing up. Back. Back. Yeah, that one looks to have gusted out. Back up. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Up, up. Back it up, back it up.
South, east, west. North, south, east, west.
West.
West. Okay, that sounds.
'Cause I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Alright, folks. Oh, yes, that's it. Not too much rotation in that storm, as per grill level 3. Yeah, it doesn't look like not a lot of rotation in that storm. Yeah, not a lot of rotation. But we definitely could. Yeah, that one looks to have gusted out. You can see it's not really a couplet. It's more of a just the two velocities meeting at 1. But yeah, it doesn't look that interesting, but still need to be on the lookout. And here, I believe Quincy's about to join us. As we look over this. I do think that storm east of Lexington should get tornado warned again. Gusted out. You can see it's not really a couplet. It's more of a just the two velocities meeting at 1. But yeah, it doesn't look that interesting, but still need to be on the lookout. And here, I believe Quincy's about to join us. As we look over this. I do think that storm east of Lexington should get tornado warning again. It's not really a couplet. It's more of a just the two velocities meeting at 1. But it doesn't look that interesting, but still need to be on the lookout. Join us. So right now I think if I was out there chasing, what storm would you be on, Chris? Chris, you there? So right now I think so what storm would you be on, Chris, if you had a choice right now?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris. You're good.
Hello? Hello?
I can hear you, Chris. You're good. What storm would you be on if you were out there right now? What storm do you think you would be on in that line? And we have Quincy with us. Hello, Quincy.
Hey, can you hear me okay with my microphone?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
Quincy?
How you doing?
Alright, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Took me a little while to figure this out, but we're good to go now. As you were saying, keeping a close eye on Kentucky now, huh? All these storms.
Well,
It's 4 in the line right now, I
it took
think.
me a while when I first started to.
Yeah, 4. It's now 4 in a line in Kentucky. And only one of them looks promising. So I say West Liberty. If you live in West Liberty, you definitely need to be on the lookout right now, as you have a storm coming in with probably the best rotation on any of these storms into your area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at him right now. So.
But I do think that as the storms progress east and hit the Appalachian Mountains, they'll start to lose a little bit of their steam.
Yeah, that combined with obviously the loss of daytime heating too.
Yeah, they're not going to have that daytime heating too much longer to feed off
Yeah,
of.
that's what they need. Yep.
But Quincy, tell our audience who you are, give them a little bit about yourself so that they can get to know you.
Okay, well, I'm meteorologist Quincy Vagell. I do have a degree in meteorology. I got my degree back in 2009. I've kind of been doing a mixed match of freelance work. I've worked at 2 different TV stations. I've done a lot of storm chasing this year. I'm kind of in a point where I'm figuring out where I want to go with my career, but right now what I'm doing is I'm doing freelance work, I'm doing research, and I'm storm chasing. And I'm from Connecticut, so you probably think, well, what's a storm chaser doing in Connecticut? Well, I've had plenty of trips out west, including Kentucky and even further west, because Connecticut doesn't get a whole lot of storms, but we are watching a setup early tomorrow morning that could feature some isolated severe weather in the Northeast, so keeping an eye on that.
It does look pretty good right now. A lot of the ingredients are there, and it's just the question of will it happen, and if it does, where?
Yeah, and it's a weird setup because it includes New York City and Boston, so it's really a delicate situation. Even if the chance is pretty slight, you have to factor 10, 20 million people in line of this, so.
And not only between that and the fact of how heavily populated it is, but again, it's very unknown of what will happen, and it's the unknown that scares a lot of us.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you're talking about storms happening before sunrise in some of those spots. Looks like it will start maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so it's dark, so we won't really have any reports visually.
And that will be the big problem concerning that. And right now, Storm Prediction Center has it outlined on its one-day outlook, a 2% tornado risk for New York, Philly, up into Boston and Hartford. Looking at this, I'm trying to tell my cities the best I can of the Northeast. I don't have a great knowledge of the area. I'm a southern boy. But you were also out in the field with us, what was it, Tuesday and Wednesday this week?
Yeah,
you were out there also.
Yeah, we kind of crossed paths a little bit. I think actually the first time we kind of crossed paths before we even really knew who each other were, it was back on April 27th, because I think we both, or at least your chase team, had a similar story to me out in Mayflower.
Oh yeah, those 2 days were enough that I could have let the season go after that and be like, all right, I'm done with tornadoes. But
yeah, for me, believe it or not, Mayflower was actually my first tornado I've ever seen, and even though I got a little bit too close, so after kind of messing up that day because you got too close to really see anything, and Mississippi was tough with all the trees, so I wanted more, and as the year went on, eventually had more, but
yeah, and this year we've been below average for tornadoes, but in terms of what we've gotten things in historic proportions, from the Pilger twin tornadoes to even the disputed triplet tornado that a few chasers reported seeing to the 2-day outbreak, the April 27th, 28th outbreak in the deep south in Arkansas and Mississippi, where we saw multiple large tornadoes.
Yeah, it's been an odd year, and I think it really started last fall because last year was another quiet year. Then all of a sudden you had the big day on October 4th, and then you had November 17th. So ever since, basically it's been just over 12 months now of kind of a weird either all or nothing, it seems like.
Yeah, and we definitely saw that the past 2 days, this Wednesday and Thursday. It looked good for some storms, and it just didn't happen. They were in the right environment, and nothing. They got so close, it was that feeling of it has to put a tornado down, it has to, and then nothing.
Yeah, I feel like this year, besides those two outbreaks, besides the 27th, 28th of April, and then that June 14th, 16th, almost every other event has underperformed for the most part.
Yeah, and it's either been where we've gotten a lot of the tornado reports from is just these random non-events that have been 1 or 2 tornadoes and then just happens and nobody's expecting it. Like we had a reported tornado today, 1 yesterday, I think. Yes. There was another yesterday. And of last week's storms, nothing. When there's supposed to be an event, nothing happens.
Yeah, speaking of happening, if you're looking at this West Liberty cell now, the velocity is really, really ramping up right now in that. Just to the east of West Liberty, it looks like.
You see, and that's another example of it happening when nobody expects it to be happening.
Yeah, once you get into eastern Kentucky, you start getting closer to the Appalachians. They're not really in a tornado-prone area. I mean, they get some, but you wouldn't expect to see all these warnings at once.
Well, that and this isn't a great area to chase. These storms are moving at 50 miles per hour and are just racing towards the hilly areas of the Appalachians.
Yeah, I chased in Kentucky once this year, and that was enough. I was actually on a pretty good couplet, but because I was in a valley and all these trees, I wasted like 25 minutes trying to even get close to it. And by the time I did, the thing was lifting. So, I mean, Kentucky is, not really a fun place to chase.
And especially as you get closer to the west side of the Appalachians, we see a lot more not only chasing area, the road network gets a lot more difficult. Trees become another big factor. And then also we see you're going up a mountain. You're going up the side of a mountain. So you see some funky things happen every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
That's why most of the time you don't see events happen over the Appalachians. You see them happen on one side or the other, and then subside as they get closer.
Yeah, West Virginia is one of the states that has, I think, the least tornadoes per square mile because they're right smack dab in the mountains.
And it's just a hostile environment for them, and it's either they happen and nobody's there to report it because they can't see it, they're in a valley, they don't see it at the top, or the storms are being disrupted by the mountains, which you typically see in the tropics with big hurricanes passing over Haiti and the mountainous terrain of the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola. But it's commonly overlooked that that can also happen on the more mesoscale at the same time. But very interesting that this is happening, and it's still going on at 8:14 at night.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting because we have to watch about 3 a.m. to about 7 a.m. up around Long Island and southern New England, and it's not going to be like this, but the setups at least supportive of 1 or 2 spin-ups, but again, because of the populated area and the timing, it's be very interesting to see what happens there later on. So might not be getting a whole lot of sleep tonight.
It's never fun. No sleep.
All right, you want to talk about no sleep? There was a couple of chase events where I drove straight out to either Nebraska or Iowa with almost no sleep because it's about 16 hours from Connecticut to Iowa, and then
That's called dedication right there. That's dedication.
borderline on desperation, but yeah.
You ever do that and then it bust?
Yeah, well, my first chase ever was last October 4th, and I drove 16 hours to Iowa, and I didn't get far enough west. And that was pretty much it. I mean, I made a trip out of it. I visited friends in Chicago and saw a storm in Illinois the next day, but yeah, the big deal, the EF4 that was out by, it was northeastern Nebraska, the wedge. Didn't get close enough.
But also, it pays off at times. You definitely take the trip out and then you say, wow, isn't this something, from definitely the Mother's Day tornadoes, the Pilger, Nebraska tornadoes, which I'm still in shock from.
Yeah, that was on June 14th, right? That was the Pilger, the twin?
Yes.
Because then June 15th, you had almost kind of the repeat of the night of the tornadoes. You had several tornadoes that spun up right around dusk and into the evening hours.
Same area.
Yep. And then the next day was just a little bit further north into South Dakota. There was another EF4 that I was on. I saw actually 8 tornadoes in 3 days, so that was kind of cool. But
that was definitely one of the more shocking 3-day outbreaks where it was so localized that you're just wondering to yourself, wait, did this really happen? I didn't have to travel, one day 200 miles to get to a target, and then another 300 the next day. It was just 20, 30 miles you had to go find a hotel, and you were still in your target area.
Yeah, it does not happen very often, let alone having 3 days where everything's photogenic, too.
Oh, yeah, from Pilger, where we had the twin tornadoes, and they were the definition of a wedge by a wedge, and if you could put an upside-down wedge in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had the next day the Coleridge, Nebraska tornado, which barely moved before becoming rain-wrapped.
Yeah, that was weird. That was like a multi-vortex, and the direction kept changing, and that whole storm was bizarre. But yeah, at first it was a massive wedge.
That storm reminds me of, what was it that did the figure eights from last year?
Oh,
Bennington,
yes.
Kansas,
Yep.
in 2013. That was May 18th in Bennington, Kansas. That tornado did figure eights and stayed on the ground. That was easily what it reminded me of the best. And for a science mission like we are on, that is what you would love to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're not going to see that very often.
And it's better because then you're not playing a game of catch-up with it and hoping, all right, now we need to stop, we need to get ready, and then you're like, oh no, now it's too far. All right, reset. With something like that, you could plant yourself somewhere and you're like, all right, we're good for the next 45 minutes. And that's what really happened on Bennington, Coleridge, Pilger for a little bit. They were all good examples of days where we could just sit there and not really move, but just kind of be most in the same place and not move very much.
That's why I really like the early season, severe weather season. You usually have slower storm movement once you get into the fall, you start getting these guys going at 40, 50 knots. And last November in Illinois, the storm ocean was 70 knots. So I chased one storm and that was it. And then once I missed it, I was out of it because you can't catch up to that.
And if you do, it's just a dangerous race to even try to make it there, because to outrace something like that, you'd have to go easily into the 90s, and to do that along with rain, hail, some strong outflow, not very safe.
Exactly.
And that brings up the topic of, Chase's safety and how it disappeared since El Nino, I would put my tongue on. That's when I say it disappeared.
Yeah, I think it's been kind of a steady ever since then. We've seen a lot of questionable chaser behavior, but it's not all the chasers are like that, but we're seeing
not all the chasers, but just
enough
that it's casting a bad eye. And granted, you and I, we both got too close on Mayflower, Villanova. We got too close that day, but it was either because of an honest mistake where we just weren't expecting it, or it just caught us off guard.
Yeah, well, like in the case of that storm, it kind of caught me off guard, and I actually did the smart thing and kind of bailed out. I probably could have stayed and maybe gotten some footage, but I looked back at the maps, and if I had stayed where I was for 3 more minutes, it was EF3 damage, so it's probably a good thing I got out of there. But some of these guys will get so close, and then they won't back off. And you have to sometimes. You have to be humble and say, look, this is a dangerous situation. Maybe I shouldn't be here right now, or maybe I need to back off.
And there's those few times, and you try to make it as little as possible, where you're just like, all right, are we too close? Are we, if it takes a little bit of a hobble north or south, are we going to be in its new path? So, and I don't think a lot of chasers are asking themselves that.
Nope.
They're now just like, all right, let's go out there, and let's take our camera, and let's hope for something. I heard that if we get closer, like Reed Timmer, we can get more money.
I mean, that's why I appreciate you guys, because you do the research aspect, and you're not just there for the thrill of getting as close as you can, and I think that's pretty admirable. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we love doing it, and not there for the thrill of it is a little bit sugarcoating it, because there's still the thrill of it where we'll get with it just perfect right there. We're not in any danger. We're out of its path. We know that we're safe, but it's just there where we'll just stop the research mission and just look at it and be like, wow, what do I say? This is the definition of beautiful. And that happened once or twice this year. I remember we rolled into Pilger after it roared through, and we saw the 2 twins in the background of all the destruction. And before helping with search and rescue, we just looked at it and said, wow, please make a postcard of this.
And then who took that picture? Was Reed the one that took that iconic picture of or maybe there's a couple of pictures floating around with the 2 twins behind all the debris?
It was Reed's team, but I think it was either Dick or Dick's girlfriend.
Yeah, I didn't think it was actually Reed himself, but that makes sense.
Reed was live tweeting it, I think. When I looked back, I'm like, okay, a lot of tweets coming from here. But then I also remember getting text messages, are you safe? Are you safe? I heard there's 2 tornadoes. Are you going to be safe? I'm like, yeah, I'm in love right now. I need the song Paradise by Coldplay. But then, we rolled into Pilger, saw the destruction. They rated that only in EF4.
Yeah, it was, right after the storm hit, the National Weather Service said at least EF4. And whenever you see that, you kind of think, okay, they're kind of leaning towards going with the 5 here, but
but then they pulled off on it.
Yeah. And then there's even talk too about the with the Coleridge one, because it did so much ground scouring. It was really tough to really get an accurate gauge. That was an EF3, I think, right?
Yes.
But I remember velocities on radar looked possibly even more impressive than that. But again, you can't go based off of. You have to go off of damage. I understand. But
I disagree with that, though. I think right now we're deep enough into research that we have the Doppler on wheels all out now. We have, what's his name? A professor from the University of Oklahoma with his own Doppler on wheels out and getting radar scans of these storms of winds 100 and 150 feet up. We know what it is about that we're losing due to friction at the ground. So I think we should start considering to use radar, considering we know.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's just the Storm Prediction Center or whoever, the Fajita scale, they're almost kind of a little bit stuck in the past, and you eventually, and you know they eventually will start factoring that in, but it may take quite a while before they.
I remember they factored that in for El Reno, and everybody got mad at them. It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't now factor it in, and then before never have done it before. That's not fair. That isn't what the rules say. So, just a little bit of a quirk. But, mentioned lead, and funny enough, I got bored today driving. I found one of my old Storm Chasers episode I bought a few years back that I used to watch on the road. I turned it on, I'm like, wow, he's changed. And, you know, nothing but love for Reed. I've met him a few times. He's a great guy. You know, he just got engaged with Maria Molina only after they met. I think when they met was the first time I think we crossed paths at Mayflower. They met, and now they're getting married.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're getting married down here, so bonus. But nothing but love for him, but he's really veered off of the research side of it.
Oh, without
he's not doing as much.
Without a doubt.
Now just chasing for photos and for the heck of it. And to be a part of KFOR. Which is, you know, I can't diss or talk bad about, you know, reporting live in a field for a news station, but you can't go from, oh yeah, I'm all about the research to now, research? Do I need to be doing this? You know, KFOR is calling my name, let's stay in Oklahoma today.
Yeah, complete flip, but funny how people change.
And it's sad because of him flipping, he's lost a lot of great people. Chris Chittick left him and went with Tornado Hunters. Dick McGowan left him most of the time now and went with another team. And he's lost a lot of great people along the way. Mike Scatlin left him, went with another team. Joel Taylor, who's another great guy. Met Joel once, and Joel is amazing. Left and started his own team. It's just sad because, you know, he means well, but he's not really doing enough to show it anymore. But I have to say, one thing that I'd like to do now is start chasing typhoons.
Really?
After seeing the Haiyan and seeing what happened there, and now seeing, I don't know how you say it, it's like Fapoon, the new one that just maxed out at 180 miles per hour, perfectly symmetric you know, body and everything. A little bit tempted, but upon looking at that, I looked at flights to the Philippines and Japan from Miami, Florida. It is not too friendly for my wallet.
No, and there's a lot of other things that go along with chasing typhoons, from the area you go in to data loss to road networks, a whole host of things I'm sure you're aware of.
Yeah, and you have to learn that, you know, after time and time. So for now, I'm going to leave it to people like iCyclone, Josh. I'm forgetting names today. It's not good, Quincy. I'm forgetting a lot of names.
Now, Josh is the big one. I had a pleasure of meeting him and seeing him present at a weather conference this summer, and we saw some of his footage, and that was crazy, to say the least. But
Yeah, Josh. Who else is it? There's like 2 more guys that do it. I just don't remember their names right now. It'll probably pop up in the middle of some other conversation. I'll, you know, this guy. But leave it to them for now. I'll keep my whimsy Atlantic Hurricanes that do nothing. And then recurve and...
yeah, we've had almost nothing. 2005 was really the last year we really had much.
You've had, there in the Northeast, more hurricanes than Florida has had since 2005. I envy you.
We've had everything up here. We've had blizzards to hurricanes, tornadoes, heat waves. We've had almost everything up here. It's besides
Better.
earthquakes. But
Better. You guys have had hurricanes followed by blizzards,
yeah.
followed by wind events.
Yeah, but then back in 2011, we had a long track EF3 that went through Massachusetts. So it's really the last, 3 years.
Brings up the question of climate change?
Well, that's a whole nother can of worms.
That is. It's a can of worms I like to open since so many people ask me about it. You're the storm chaser. What do you think about climate change? Well, I personally believe some of this and some of that. You're lying. Everything you just said is false. Okay, I'm fine with it. But, brings it up, I'm doing a school talk not too far from where we're headquartered in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I was talking with the guidance counselor there, and her first thing was, will you talk to them about climate change and global warming? I don't want you to ruin their futures. Tell them, yeah, Florida's not going to be here for much longer. Which is my big thing. If I go and do a talk and I'm given no limits, I'm going to have fun with the kids. Be like, you know where you're living? We're going to be in ocean in a few years, so I hope you know how to swim. Like, and it's sad. It's like, face the facts. Right now, Miami, the astronomical high tides, there's 5 or 6 streets in Miami that are underwater. And it's like, what are we going to do about this? You're doing nothing to prevent it. Nothing to educate people about it. It's sad.
Well, another example is Manhattan, New York City. We saw some of it with Sandy, but the lower portion of Manhattan, which you have millions of people, it's just 5 or 6 feet above sea level. How long is that going to be there?
And that also brings up the question of, what can we do to prevent it? Do we kind of make Manhattan more of a enclosed bay with a lock to get in and out, or do we turn around and just say, all right, you 6 million people, you're going to have to pack your bags by 2018. If you don't, we're going to pack them for you. That's the big question of, what is it? What now?
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, and it seems like a lot of people just want to leave it for later generations, but eventually it's going to come to a point where someone's going to have to make a decision.
And that's the problem of someone's going to have to make a decision, and you're wondering, who is it going to be? You're going to leave it for these later generations, and I don't know how it is up there. I've heard that your school systems up there are amazing, versus ours down here, which are mediocre at best. They don't educate the kids anymore.
I think it's kind of it's like that everywhere. It's like that chronic across the board. Our education system's that's a whole other debate topic,
But you want to leave it to these later generations, then start preaching to the, start preaching what you're talking about. Don't just say it over and over again. Say the later generation can handle it, they can handle it, they can handle it. And then turn around and say, oh, well, what? They can't handle it? Okay. Don't turn around and make it their problem and then be surprised when they're not ready to handle the problem.
Exactly.
And that's the big question right now is, what's it gonna take to make people notice what's going on? And that's a big question right now, and it's not one that I think is going to have an answer for a while.
No, or maybe not a convenient answer. Maybe it takes more of these superstorms or whatever you want to call them.
These freaks of nature. That's what I'm commonly called. You're a freak of nature, the fact that you want to chase these things. Well, you say that you like the pretty video on your TV screen. You wonder who films it. It's not, old John over there. It's us who are willing to go out in the field and risk our lives. But that also brings up, right now I think the tornado threat in eastern Kentucky is starting to end. There's another storm just to the northwest of Jackson that's looking okay on radar, but it isn't looking great. About around Frenchburg, not really a good velocity couplet there. The storm that passed by West Liberty is still looking okay.
Yeah.
It looks to have weakened a little bit, and that's
it's almost like occluding or something. I mean, the velocity scan's really messy, but there's still kind of a hook on radar. But
yeah, we're going back into Paintsville now, and that's what it looks like.
To pull up anything?
If you can pull up Grill Level 3, Chris, that'd be good. Look at that on the big screen. But yeah, I see it not really doing anything, just losing it, more to say. Becoming more of a hail and a straight line wind risk as we go. Yeah, it went from a strong couplet back around West Liberty to now Paintsville. It's more occluded, not looking as great. Frenchburg, it looks okay. Nothing great though right now that is really of worries. And even the hail risk doesn't even look that great. A lot of these storms don't have a lot of vertical liquid.
Yep.
So, could say that tonight is a little bit over. It may not be completely done, but it looks like they are running out of energy very quickly and are starting to really just either gust out, or they're now entering West Virginia. Good old tornado death Virginia. We already talked about that. If there's going to be any more storms, it's going
Yeah.
to be around Jackson is what I think. There's a supercell composite of 8 around that area. So maybe the last one in the line can get it done. But the dew points are down to around 60. The temperature's now in the 70s, really losing a lot of support. Cape is only around the 500s now in the area. Not looking very favorable for these storms. What they have going for them now is really strong wind shear around Jackson. These tornado warning storms have 50 to 55 knot shear in front of them, so that is what is the big problem now. So that will probably be what needs to be looked at for the rest of the night. And into tomorrow morning, we need to watch as these slowly go back to the north and kind of take a northeasterly turn towards your area.
Yep, and I know our dew points aren't that high right now. We got some mid to upper 50s, but with that southeast wind, you'll get some decent moisture transport, and then you have the surface low developing across New York State. So a little bit of an overlap of that shear and instability, but will it be enough?
And it should be. We should see a pretty marginal to good or okay threat.
Yeah, I was talking to some meteorologists and some other people up here, and we were a little bit, maybe not confused, but we were a little bit unsure of why they went from slight risk and then a downgrade to see text. I mean, I know it's a low Cape scenario, but it's funny. I was reading the discussion for Kentucky, and they were talking about Cape of not even 500. But look at all those storms. So I'm not saying the same exact thing, but if there's enough shear, you don't need extreme instability.
And I definitely think we saw that. It's more of a shear profile today than really Cape, where they depended a lot on tons of shear instead of the normal half Cape, half shear. They equal each other out and give you a good storm. They really depended more on the straight shear.
I'm just checking over some of our new 0Z soundings that are coming in. Let's see here. Yeah, there's pretty good wind shear, especially low-level shear here across like Cape Cod, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it could make for a very interesting night into early morning.
Yeah, and it could hit the morning commute around Boston. That's like 7, 8 o'clock, so that'll be something to watch too.
Definitely, I think if we start trying to... There we go. I got the sounding that I wanted. Yeah, we do see a lot of good shear, but could be maybe some little bit of... Let me look at this. Yeah, there's some good low-level shear. Definitely good for a quick, brief tornado. Definitely cannot be ruled out. Same thing goes for New York City. But Boston looks to have more of that rich moisture feeding in from the Atlantic. But I would probably go Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts area, that corner. make a bet up there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
See what happens. If needed, resort south and east a little bit. Because I wouldn't want to get too close to the ocean or drop too far south, because a lot of these storms will be dependent on the shear and the moisture. So that could be our big problem. But it's your area, Quincy. You know it best.
Yep. One of the rare
uh,
times. It's funny because I was almost going to call in this season a couple days ago, but expect the unexpected, I guess.
That's definitely true. And I'm about ready to call in the hurricane season. I don't see anything for the rest of this month. And November is always a sleeper month. So,
Yeah, I mean, in some years you might get a big storm out by the Caribbean or something, but the way this pattern is, it's not going to support that. So
right now, it's just looking at the long-range models, seeing, oh look, the GFS at 10 days out is putting a hurricane into Florida, and then look at my computer again and say, too bad this never verifies, and like just walk away and cry. It's like, no, nothing since 2005.
the best might be the long-range Canadian model. That almost always has some crazy ramped-up system out past day 7.
It almost always, and it seems to be this year, it's taken just case studies from the West Pacific, and it's like, you know what? I think this will work if we put it in the Atlantic. So we have just 2 storms rotating around each other. You're like, really? Really? And there's a really funny meme about it where it's the Euro model, it's that diligent student. There's the GFS, which is cheating a little bit. And then the CMC, which is just like, wait, what's going on? What? What? I'm not picking my nose. But it's always good to see something like that, and then you're like, oh, it's GFS 10 days out. When does this verify? And then you always get an argument of, well, per mathematical standards, it will eventually verify. Really?
And if you look at the case of Sandy, it wasn't the GFS. It was the Euro that was right about 10 days out. GFS took about 6 more days after that,
But the GFS nailed the track, unlike the Euro. The Euro had it going out to sea, right?
Actually, no, actually it was the other way around.
Yeah, that was the other way around.
Yeah, the Euro had it nailed down, and then GFS came around. But there was one storm a couple of years ago where it was the other way around. It was a storm in the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know if you remember that. The GFS was going to take it eastward, but the Euro kept saying towards Texas, and actually it did go into, I think, Florida, I think. Debbie, right, yeah.
Debbie.
That was the epic fail from the Euro, one of the few times.
Debbie the devil had me go too far away. I could have stayed in my home state. But no, I had to go and slowly make my way to good old Texas, where thankfully they had In-N-Out Burger. Hey, we don't have In-N-Out Burger, so I'm happy when I get to eat In-N-Out Burger.
There you go.
But we definitely, now I'm just looking over case studies from these West Pacific typhoons. They make me cry. It's like, why? Why can't we have one of these in the middle of the Atlantic? But no, we have Eduardo. Eduardo, it's such a cool name. Love to see some TV announcer. Jim Cantori. Alright, we're taking Hurricane Eduardo right now. Yes, he is slowly slamming into the coast of Miami. Eduardo. Here in Miami, people would start coming out of the bushes. Si, senor. Sí. Me llamo es Eduardo. We'd have that down here.
Oh yeah.
So, just looking at these storms, I see Hurricane Rick in October 2009, 180 miles per hour off the coast of Mexico. Super Typhoon Meggy in October 2010, that was 185 miles per hour. And then Haiyan last year, which is easily the record-breaking storm, 195 miles per hour.
Oh yeah. Impressive.
Impressive to say the least. But again, you have something like looking at the global tropics hazards and benefit outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, which gives you in weeks. You see right now they're calling for this area of low pressure in the southwest Caribbean to just go out into the Pacific side, which has been happening all season. Darn you, Pacific, you're stealing our storms. And talk about looking at the GFS at day 10. I'm doing that right now. So if I start crying. According to the GFS, it wants Sandy Part 2. It wants two low pressure systems to slam into each other to create Sandy Part 2. The chances of that verifying are like the chances of us getting hit by a meteor and all life ending next week. So, just, it's so nice. It loves us. The GFS, it's our homegrown American model. Really loves us American chasers.
And don't they keep talking about upgrading it, and it never happens?
They've been saying for 3 years now, we're going to upgrade it. We're going to give you the super GFS. It's like, the Chinese have done more than you. They're going to steal more of our business. And granted, the Chinese model, which is super high def, is amazing, but it's been totally wrong this year. So, it's one of those where they gave you quality over quantity, and then was always wrong. So, right now, the Euro's my best friend.
Euro is king.
It's too bad that they don't make a Euro, though, for just mesoscale. If we had one of those
Yeah,
models,
I mean, you know what's like a model that gets overlooked a lot? The high-res Canadian actually is not that bad. The RGEM.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but again, being from Florida and having to deal with the tropical models, Canadian doesn't ring a good bell. We hear Canadian, oh no, we think of two things. Well, there goes all our food and all of our beaches. Second, this thing always wants a hurricane slamming into Florida, whether it be February 1st or July 1st. I think this year it also had two hurricanes slamming into Florida at the same time from two different sides of the coast.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
If that happened, I would have to stop chasing. After that, I would call it quits. I would retire. I'd be like, you know what? I'm young enough. I can retire now. I'm no longer chasing. If something like that were to verify, a hurricane into Miami and at the same time a hurricane into Tampa. Shoot, let's go for triplets. A hurricane into Jacksonville. Take them all out at once.
That would be some kind of crazy Fujiwara effect. You'd have, I don't know what would happen after that.
After that, that'd be me sitting in a boat on Lake Okeechobee saying, yeah, this isn't happening. But it seems like the Canadian keep completely disregards the Fujiwara effect and everything like that. It's just like, nah, I don't believe in that.
Model physics, who needs it?
Yeah, who needs real physics? Who needs real physics when we have people who read the models, see, ooh, look, it's day 17, and it has a Category 5 hurricane at 190, at, 895 millibars slamming into Miami, Florida. Let's post this on the internet. Say it's going to happen. When it doesn't, let's disappear off to a different country. And that person we had as a guest on this show during season 1. And no disrespect, good guy. Just come back to the country when people like you again.
Hmm.
And I can say that because I know he's watching the podcast because he sent me multiple emails saying, I heard what you guys were saying. It's not true. I'm like, you posted it on social media. I am leaving to go to a different country because you guys are mean. Fourth grade physics right there. Like, really? That's what you want? But right now, maybe go storm chasing in India.
No,
How does that sound?
that's fun.
The United States isn't cutting it. It's not delivering enough. United States needs to step its game up. Shoot, I think France has had more tornadoes.
How many has Oklahoma had? Because they were on a record low pace at one point.
I think they were on... 19 the entire year.
I think there was 1 month in the spring where New York had more than Oklahoma.
That's sad. That's sad. Like, very sad. Like, I want my money back. Can I ask the state of New York for my money back? Like, you guys have absolutely messed my business up this year. I want my money back. You and your tornadoes in New York City on Megadon crap. You wonder why Sharknado happened. Sharknado 2. The Sharknado returns. Sharknado! What's the song?
Oh, goodness.
I think I downloaded it just because it was so annoying. Ballad of Sharknado. That's what it's called. And we do get bored on the road, so we play songs like this to try to annoy everybody. I think I found it. Oh my.
I thought it was the one you were singing.
Sharknado. I don't know the entire thing.
That one, yeah.
But it's just so annoying.
What, the
Can't catch that
YMCA?
guy in the
No,
Sharknado.
Good.
I did say I watched both Sharknadoes.
You gotta be kidding me.
I see that Sharknado coming for me. I can't run, I can't hide. I just don't wanna die. Sharknado, Sharknado.
I have nothing to say.
Next thing you know, you'll be playing Staying Alive.
No, it's that song. It's the song I'm always singing in the pre-show, by Phil Collins.
Yeah,
Oh, Coming in the Air Tonight.
yeah, it's like,
I love that song. To be honest, I absolutely love that song. You talk about, like, a favorite song? I love that song. The guys get annoyed at me when I'm chasing because I'll just play it over and over again. Like, I think my record is 102 times straight. Like, Morgan, what? This is the 103rd time you are playing this song. Well, what do you want to play? One Direction. Saying that, Sunday there was a One Direction concert here. And I was forecasting for it because I had a friend going to it, and I said, alright, well, all the storms will be going in one direction. And I believe that if you're lucky, the Canadian will show up also. If you really know music, you'll know what I'm talking about. What? I have a ton of fun when I forecast. And if either you're close to me, I know you very well, or I just want to have fun with you, I will give you some ridiculous forecast. Like, I have a friend in, Colorado. Yeah, Chris, I've done it a few times for you. I've had you drive somewhere and been like, yeah, this forecast isn't going to verify.
No, you did not. Oh, no, you did not.
Only like once or twice. Once.
Whatever.
We'll talk about that
playing
later.
with my head and I'm over here. Alright.
You're over there. Everybody's forecasting on the computers. I keep forgetting that the camera's over here now and not over here. So I don't think I've looked at the camera once. Like, I keep looking over at it, acknowledging it, and then turning back to my computer. Which, to me, sucks. Because I'm not used to, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Oh, I just kicked the stand. Ouch. But, definitely, I have to say, these podcasts don't get any more fun. Personally, these are a lot of fun for me, mostly because I get to act like an idiot. And you can't say anything about it, because it's like, oh, he's acting like an idiot. He's probably an idiot. And I'll say that about myself, and I have people on the team who are just like, yeah, he's a moron. Yeah, the guy, he knows nothing. But, I think right now, personally, I think I am very tempted to update some equipment for the next chase season. Now my question is, what equipment is it to update? And I'm stuck in between. We can pay one big fee and get our own mobile radar.
Ooh.
Which is like, I think, $1,800 plus service fees, installation fees, taxes, our promise to the government that we won't be using it for anything other than weather. So I'm stuck in between doing that, getting everybody new iPhone 6s,
Ooh.
the big one. Do you have it?
No, I have the regular 6.
How is it?
I love it. I had the 4S before, and this thing's blazing fast, and it's thin as paper almost.
I want to get the 6 Plus, but now there's Bengate and Hairgate. And if you notice, I have a lot of hair, so I hear hair gate. I'm like, no, my valuable hair. So stuck in between that, can do that, the radar, or I can turn around and put down a payment for a new chase car. So
I just got a new van.
I'm a little bit in between because the new chase car sounds good, but it's like, well, these already have a ton of equipment installed. Most of the stuff we don't need. And the hassle of doing this new one, putting in the new windows, the Lexan windows, and doing this and that. Oh. So a little bit over what to do. I'm trending towards the radar. Get our own view of the storm. But I feel like if we get the radar, it could present a lot of problems, such as we will have to avoid punching cores, because if we damage the dome, the valuable electronics inside are left to the environment.
Yeah.
And that dome's not easy to replace. You can't go over to Best Buy and be like, do you have one new radar dome? No, you don't? You don't carry those in the back? Come on, this is Kansas. Kansas, expect the unexpected. That's exactly what you get. I say that and at the same time, go Royals. Kansas City Royals, I hope you win the World Series. If you don't, I will jump off that bandwagon and become a Marlin fan again,
Oof.
which I am ashamed to say. I think that was Quincy that just went, oh.
It could be worse. It could be the Cubs.
Fun fact about the Cubs, they haven't won a World Series since the Ottoman Empire was still in control. 1920. We do have a lot of time on the road, so I do read a lot, and that was something I read. So, it's a little something. But it is the Marlins, and I can get 75-cent tickets and be right above the dugout. That tells you something. I mean, or a New York game for that matter. The Yankees or the Red Sox.
Oh, for me?
It's what, like, yeah.
Well, I'm a Sox fan. I'm not as hardcore as I used to be, because we got a couple of those World Series out of our way, but...
You say it like it's a hassle. It's like, yeah, those World Series, yeah, we got those out of the way. We don't need to worry about those anymore.
No, it was a roller coaster ride up until '04. I used to be one of those emotional roller coaster fans, but kind of mellowed down a little bit.
So how much is it to a ticket to one of those games now?
You said 75 cents. It's like $75 to get a decent ticket.
Oh my.
And they only seat like 35,000, so they're always going to sell out. So, the prices are jacked up.
That's the problem, is our stadium, the Marlins built an entire new stadium, and now they can't sell any tickets to it. And better, you can't get parking there. It's literally impossible to get parking at this new Marlins stadium because they turned around, they built it in the middle of a, whatchamacallit, a city, right in the middle of a city. It literally transfers from homes to giant baseball stadium. So, impossible. But also I think about other things at the same time, and this is something not a lot of people hear, and it's what we do on the road while traveling. It's like, well, you guys have to drive from either Dallas, St. Louis, Oklahoma, to all these weird places, including Canada. Great old Canada. Which they wouldn't let me into this year. I couldn't chase Canada this year. Or Mexico, for that matter. My passport expired. You know how long it takes to get a new one of those?
Like what? A couple months?
It takes 6... Yeah.
Yeah.
4 months to get a new passport. I'm just like, what? No, I can't go into Canada. Darn Canadians. My personal view is, if Canadians get to come into this country all they want, especially into Florida, why can't I do the same, except with them? Why can't I have, like, a free pass into Canada? Like, all I want? It's like an all-I-can-eat buffet, but all-you-can-eat entry into Canada.
I'll take one of those. I'm a little distracted because we're upgraded back to slight risk now for tonight.
Oh,
So we were slight risk, then C text, and now back to slight risk.
They did upgrade you guys again.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
waiting
we're
for
down
I see the
to-
graphic, but I don't see the text yet, the updated text.
We're down to 2 tornado warnings, and only one of them is actually really worth it by now. Yeah, and a new mesoscale discussion out for the tornado watch. Yeah, they give the current storms until 03Z to really ramp it up. And
Wow,
they credit it due to 50 to 60 knots of shear.
Yep. There's not to interject here, but there's now a 5% tornado risk for New York City.
Oh, that includes New York City?
Yep,
Oh,
5 New York City, Bridgeport, New Haven, Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, look at that.
Are you going to chase tomorrow, Quincy?
Well, I'm going to be up. It's going to be a little tough to chase when it's dark, but I'm going to definitely be up and tracking these things. So if it ends up being closer to daybreak, then I definitely will. But
Yeah, I see some of the text that says forecaster confidence has increased, including collaboration with Mount St. Holly, Upton and Boston, for a slight risk of isolated to scattered severe storms, northern New Jersey through Long Island, including New York City / into southern New England during the last 6 hours of this forecast period. Based on the current strength of an observed westerly 500 millibar jet of 80 knots at Jackson, Kentucky earlier this evening, per the VAD. Strong deep layer ascent within the exit region of this jet will move into northern Delmarva by 06Z and then into Long Island and southern New England by 12Z. This mid-level jet and an expected strengthening southwesterly LLJ up to 50 to 60 knots from the mid-Atlantic states to southern New England later tonight will occur as the current upper Ohio Valley shortwave trough becomes negatively tilted over New York to southern New England by 12Z. The strengthening wind fields will result in strong deep layer shear and increasing low-level shear for discrete rotating storms and bowing segments and or blah blah blah, same thing. 23Z rapid soundings from the vicinity of New York City at 07Z indicating effective SRH around 250 blah 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 with similar values into southeast Massachusetts near New Bedford by 12Z. This factor supports the tornado threat, while strong winds just off the surface will favor the threat for damaging winds. And Cape is already around 600. Destabilization is likely later tonight, supporting thunderstorm development. There we go.
Wow.
Quincy gets the slight risk he wants.
A little bit of homegrown action, and this might be the biggest setup of the year yet.
Unless, the GFS decides it wants to finally verify the likelihood of that. So, yeah, it looks like you get quite a day.
Well, a few hours, so make the best of it.
Make it a day. Just turn around. Be like, you know what? It's a day now.
Well, actually, if it ends up being, if there are a couple of spin-ups, I will actually do a damage survey of the area. So we'll see how extensive it is. Usually I don't get a chance to do damage surveys because usually storms are near dark, but this will be the opposite. So.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that, considering that you could see a few of those, especially if we end up getting a bow in that area, a Boeing segment. Definitely could see something like that. Could see a couple quick spin-ups. Never know. Maybe, a short-lived but kind of medium-lived tornado that you can see for a while. Non-populated areas, of course.
Well, with that low-level shear, it could support a significant tornado briefly. We're talking of the RAP and her showing almost 300 0 to 1 kilometer helicity and plenty of shear. We're talking 40 to 50 knots of low-level shear. So if there's a discrete cell that can take on its own environment, then it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not, and I think that as it goes on, we could definitely look at in 12Z tomorrow. Again, it'll depend a lot on what these storms are going to try to feed off of, if it's going to be just the deep shear, or if they're going to try to take more of an equal value of both that and the limited cape in the environment. But soundings look okay, actually. Around the Albany area, they look okay. Put it a little bit farther south, where I previously talked about. Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York area. See what they have to say. Soundings still look good. At 12Z, which is what the National Weather Service is highlighting. Shear, it's very limited, but it's still there. Shear, helicity for the low levels. It's there again. Another day where it could be spin-ups from the shear. All bulk shears there. Everything's there, so definitely could give you a little late season run for your money if you get a little bit lucky there.
Yeah, definitely interesting to say the least. Don't mind me, I'm just a little bit distracted by this.
Oh, trust me, I am too. That and I have to go and tomorrow pitch another school presentation to a guidance counselor, which to me is never fun because I'm pelted with questions. So what makes you think that you are qualified to be doing this? Business card? The business card? The data we've collected? That doesn't make me qualified? Well, who says that you should be teaching school children? I never said I was teaching them. I said I was talking to them. If I was teaching them, I wouldn't be chasing. Wouldn't I be such a bad teacher? Imagine if you had a teacher in grade school who's like, alright kids, for the next week and a half you guys are going to have a substitute. Why? Why? Well, I'm going storm chasing. I would lose my job so quickly. Trust me, kids, it's a lot more fun to be storm chasing than to be teaching you. And me, I'm not the nicest person, I would say that. Who's calling me? Hello? Yes. Yes, I am bringing you a charger. Well, I have a meeting at 10, and then I'm busy from 9 to 9:50. What time? I don't know. She hasn't told me. Yes, I can make that work. We'll set a... Do you think that you could be at the high building at like 11:15? 11? Like at 11. Yes, do that. That works. Yes. And just be outside that like front entrance that we have to go through. Yes, go there. I'll give it to you so that I can go straight into the meeting. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Alright, I will. Alright, no problem. Bye. Alright, I apologize. That was actually a chaser buddy of mine who he broke his iPhone charger. So he sent me an email at 7 o'clock tonight saying, "Hey, can you get me a new one? Like, you're doing the podcast tonight. You should be able to get a new one by the next morning." Like, ooh, yay. You're my best friend. But... This could be interesting tomorrow for your area, but it looks 12Z. God, such a hard time to chase.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the her right now, and at 4 in the morning, there's a line of semi-discrete cells popping up around New York City, and then it's here between 5 and 6 a.m., which not much or any daylight yet. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it does go east if I look at like Eastern Mass or Rhode Island.
But then you have the question of, is it going to bow out by then?
See, that's the thing, but then on the flip side, there's more instability, so it's kind of not like a wash. I don't really know. I'll probably just make a short-term decision in a couple hours.
Just
but I want
do it.
to go far either way, so.
Hashtag just do it. But
yeah,
right
anything
now,
else you wanted to talk about with me before
you disappear off into
I bounce into like staring at models and
yeah, I'm tempted. I'm gonna probably start doing that soon too, just to look at it, and then I'll fall asleep to it. My sad life.
That's a way to fall asleep.
Fall asleep on my computer with the weather model right there. And I have to admit, what sucks is I always say to people, "Yeah, well, just give me 10 minutes. I'm looking at the models." What models are you looking at? Are you talking like, you know? It's like, no, not those models. I wish. Victoria's Secret Weather Edition. Makes me, and I'm getting off topic here, and it sucks. Makes me think of a funny article. Some guy at a news station tweeted a link to Pornhub as their weather radar service. So they said, come view our weather radar. And then it is a link to the guy's Pornhub account. That just made me laugh so hard. Like, massive fail. But, let's see. I need another question for Quincy before we lose him to the deep space known as forecasting.
Yeah, give me a good question. Not too controversial. No, you can ask me anything. I don't care.
Not too controversial. Quincy read my mind there. It's like, he's thought of plenty of them. I'll go with something simple. It's 2 questions in one. First one is... The first one is, what would you say is your all-time favorite memory from chasing?
That's kind of easy, actually. The day with the what is that in the background? The day with the Pilger tornadoes. But the interesting thing is I actually saw the first tornado touchdown that day. So I saw a tornado touchdown, ended up being an EF4. That was in Stanton. I forget what road it was, but I turn around as the storm's roping out. I look to my right. There's one wedge coming down, and then there's a third funnel cloud. So I got to watch the 2 twin tornadoes form, but I saw 3 EF4s in the span of about 15 minutes. So that was probably my best single experience. And then this is my close second. This cloud action over here.
The cloud action in the background. You alright there, Chris? Trying to not get struck by lightning?
No, I'm listening to him about the Pilgrim tornadoes.
Yeah, those were some scary tornadoes.
Yeah, I'm good.
I have to
I'm
admit.
good. I'm just kind of.
Yeah, it was yeah.
The pictures seem to be. Didn't you say like? I forgot. I think didn't you say like somebody actually got quadruplets? Like there was actually 4.
At it's
I know there's 3, but somebody's.
Well, I can tell you actually firsthand what I saw. At one point, I saw 2 tornadoes, a funnel cloud, and then kind of an appendage on the horizon. So they're definitely. I don't know that there actually were 3 at one point. Honestly, I think that was a little inconclusive, but
Okay.
there was at least 3 funnel clouds. If you consider 2 tornadoes and a funnel cloud, at least from what I saw. I mean, there could have been something different, but I was on those storms right until they got rain wrapped. So.
Yeah, I have to say from being closer to it because we were trying to do research, there were 2, no doubt about it, there were 2, but on and off there was a 3rd funnel cloud.
Yeah,
and there's
absolutely.
some people that were on that side where it was saying, oh, it touched down, oh, there were, triplets. I was very skeptical of it. And if I did see anything, it was a mini vortice from one of the tornadoes popping out and popping back in. And that's the closest to anything that would have done 3.
There was one picture where it looked like there were 3, but you couldn't see the ground on the 3rd one, so it wasn't conclusive. But I definitely agree with what you said. I think it's a good way to summarize it.
Yeah, and it was mostly mini vortices or maybe a satellite, but not really because the satellite system would have been more of the 2 wedges satelliting each other. But I have to agree, that day was amazing. And then I asked all of our guests this, except for Kevin, because I didn't want to piss him off, because I didn't want to end up on the front page of some fake news magazine. Love you, Kevin. Anyway, what would you say to younger people and, kids that want to get into the weather industry, the chasing industry? They see us doing what we do. We're crazy. Crazy. Losing my mind. Losing it. What would you say to them? What would you say that you think they need to do?
Well, that's a good question. I think if you're fascinated by weather and that's what you want to pursue, I think stay with it. I know some people get turned back or turned around because they think the math and science is too hard, but I got 3 eyes watching me now. No, I would say stick with it, study hard, and I think don't forget the scientific aspect of it. So don't just go out there and be a stupid storm chaser or someone that gets struck by lightning, but really appreciate Mother Nature for what it is, because it could create three eyes in a person like that.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you, Quincy.
How many fingers am I holding?
What made you? No.
What made
What
me only
made
have
you
two
want
eyes?
to do that? Be a meteorologist.
Okay.
No. What made you want to be a meteorologist?
No, that's a good
What
question.
triggered you to do that?
Yeah, ever since a young age, and I'm talking like kindergarten, first grade, so by 5 or 6, I was glued to the Weather Channel, fascinated by weather, but the single biggest thing for me was that I wanted to be able to make my own forecast. I wanted to know how to make a forecast. I know it sounds simple, but as a kid, that's what I wanted to do. And the superstorm of '93 was when I was 7 years old. No, 6. 6 years old. And that was my first vivid weather memory, and that kind of kicked things off, and it was all just a spiral from there. So I knew from a very young age that I wanted to study weather and know more about forecasting.
So I definitely
okay.
say
I mean,
Quincy's words, they are very true, and yet down to the point of, if you want to do it, go pursue your dream, your passion. I would always encourage that. Just don't go out there saying, you know what, I took one online course from Penn State that says I have 3 credits in meteorology. I am now a certified meteorologist. Because my professors referred to us as amateur meteorologists. Don't be that person that's going out there and is chasing because you took a class in meteorology. Go out there, be smart, turn around, and know how dangerous the weather is. It can create a really white monster, as seen on Chris's screen right now, where the bottom half of his face is missing.
How did I miss that?
And
I'm just having a little fun.
as we've sadly seen, it can also take a life. So definitely encourage you to go chase your dreams. Haha, no pun intended, chase. Go and have fun with it. Don't let people turn around and say, oh, you'll never do that. You'll never be any good at that. Oh, trust me. Weather? Oh, too much math. Oh, it's too much science. Oh, weather? Oh, you'll never get a job in that. Trust me. Look at the 3 of us. We all have jobs. Every now and then.
That's a great summary.
If you're somebody like Chris, consider a side career. Quincy? He's doing pretty good for himself, chasing and being on and off meteorologist at TV stations, and then me, my own company, which sucks.
Well,
I don't like having my own company.
And
I can't undercover.
I wouldn't be
boss.
here without the help of you, though, Morgan. I wouldn't be
problem.
in this situation without the help of you, because you've been teaching me.
Here's the problem
You're a
that I
good
have
teacher.
owning my own company and being like, I walk in the office, hey Morgan, hey Morgan, hey Morgan, hey Morgan, hey Morgan, and now being recognized in public. It's now I can't turn around and like undercover boss this, because first of all, you'll recognize my voice.
Oh, that sucks.
So if I undercover boss it, they'll be like, hey, what's up, Morgan? Why'd you cut your hair? It's like, shh, I'm undercover. Well, you're not very good at it. That's also a shout out to Undercover Boss. If you want to do something with me, I'm all down for it. You can even do something with Chris, the giant sunglasses and giant lips monster.
I'm a little bit freaked out now. No.
What do you do to get those, Chris? How much do I have to pay to get a pair of those? I'm talking about you.
You just get that draw app you showed me?
You know what? Let's see. Let's see. I
Oh,
can
oops,
actually
I
have.
flipped myself. Crap.
I was gonna
I
do
didn't
that,
want that.
Quincy.
Darn it. I flipped myself.
You know what? I'm gonna
There,
turn
there,
around.
what?
I have to actually look
How
at the
did
camera.
how did I end up turning that around? Crap. I didn't want to do that. Hey Quincy,
Yeah, what's up?
do you chase alone?
That's actually a good
Let me
question.
get those though before I adopt me real quick.
Yeah,
Let me get
I
those
normally
before I
leave
adopt. I'm
Connecticut on my
sorry.
own. Wait. Yeah, I normally leave Connecticut on my own, but I will meet up with people sometimes. But I do fly solo a lot because I'm on my own schedule. It helps to have another person there, but most of my chases have actually been alone, believe it or not. So it's a lot of multitasking.
Well, yeah, I was wondering because it's so hard to find somebody to actually go with you. For
You
some
know,
reason, a lot of them have jobs, family, but also a lot of them say, I don't think I want to go and get myself killed. You
no,
know?
that's a good point. And because I'm so far away, I'm in Connecticut. Whenever I go out chasing, besides having rainbows in my head, I like to usually go out for several days or over a week, and it's really hard to get someone to commit. Yeah, I can for my job and leave for a week or 5 days or whatever. So yeah, it is hard, like you said, to coordinate with people.
Yeah, especially for what Morgan does when he goes to get so close to those tornadoes to get
Hey, I
his
don't get that
research.
close.
You know, I,
You make me look bad.
well, okay, you get the point. But what is like? Do you get real close and shoot probes in there like Morgan does, or do you just research what's going on?
You know, for me, it's really a little bit of everything. But I think with each storm chase that I've done, I've wanted to get closer and closer. At first, I was okay with being quarter mile, half mile away, but I think once you've seen as much as I've seen, my goal is to get closer with the next time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like everything. I appreciate being able to see the structure and understand the research of what's happening in the mesoscale. But then at the same time, having the thrill of being, look, I'm this close to a tornado. So it's a little bit of everything for me, I think.
Doesn't that like worry you, like what happened with the El Reno tornado, that it could just take a shift and when you get so close?
Well,
To
what
be
happened?
honest,
Actually, that's a good point because with Mayflower, anyone who knows storm chasing, usually a storm chase a storm from usually the south or the southwest. I was actually coming from the north with Mayflower, and I got into a spot where I almost
Okay.
couldn't turn around, and I actually learned a lot from that because I had someone text me. They saw where I was in the spotter network, and they're like, "Dude, you're too close to the storm. It's a massive storm. This could be another El Reno." And because of that text message, I turned around, and that could have. I mean, maybe it didn't save my life, but it got me to like wake up and say, "Whoa, listen, you're a little bit too close." So I learned my lesson, and from this point on, at any point possible, I storm chase from the backside of a storm. That way, it's almost impossible that it's going to hit me
Okay.
because you can go with the storm motion
Oh.
instead of trying to catch up. Because
Okay.
with Mayflower, the storm's coming from the southwest, and I'm coming from the north, and it was almost like a collision almost. So it's best to be coming from the other side.
yeah, I have to admit with Mayflower, the Mayflower of the Lenoya tornado, we were following it from the southwest, but when we heard of damage in Mayflower, we just had 2 more probes, I think, left to launch into it. And of all the probes, we only recovered 1. We heard that 2 were recovered in damage in Mayflower. If you have them, please send them to me. We could use those. Please, they're expensive to make. But we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. We had a pretty good idea of where it was going, so we decided to go north to catch it, as it was on a northeast track. And we couldn't really see. We were surrounded by trees, and we turned around, and there it was right in front of us. I think it was less than half a mile away, less than a quarter of a mile away for that matter. And that was easily the hardest I think we've ever slammed on the brakes.
Now,
and just watched it.
now, did you when you were with Mayflower, did everything go pitch black? Because when I was on the north side, everything went literally almost pitch black. And I heard from another storm chaser who was, I think he was on the south side. Everything just went pitch black. Did you see that where you were, or were you far enough back that it didn't do that?
It was black. It was black and loud enough. The roar shook the car. And you felt it. If you put your hand up against a window, you felt your hand, your entire arm was shaking. Whether it be from fear or just from the sheer fact that you're a quarter mile away from a massive tornado. So, that was our problem. We know that we messed up. We had a couple of problems. We ran into Hale's Chasers, Hale's Angels, Hale's Chasers. They're another chase group, and our team got into a argument with their team because they got extremely close like us, and they were already on the TV with news stations selling the story of, oh yeah, we got, 300 feet from a massive wedge tornado. Look at this. We have all this, right into the middle of our car, all this debris. And we got into an argument with them saying, it's like, why are you chasing? What are you doing? It's because of you that we have so many people against us chasing. Because you're selling this story to a news station of, oh, it was massive. We saw nothing but darkness. We felt the absolute roar. Look at this debris lodged in the car. So we got into a little bit of a confrontation with them, which I'm not necessarily proud about, but I have to say it was kind of needed, because if they would have continued like that, they either would have driven into that tornado, or they would have turned around and done something dumb, and like that gone to Flanoia or Mayflower and caused a ton of damage, not only from the tornado, but from just being there and not helping and just trying to get too close.
Yeah, well, no, that's a good point. After Mayflower actually passed, I actually went back south to investigate damage, and it was just a chaotic scene. You can probably attest to some of this. You could smell gas in the air. There was a gas leak, power lines everywhere. There was emergency vehicles. I was going to go back and be part of the rescue effort, but there was just too much chaos, and I just had to get out of there and just let the local authorities deal with it. And then we drove through Valonia, how we pronounce that, to try to get to the next destination, because there was still a tornado watch throughout the entire night. So we drove through Valonia, and then that was a whole other big mess, and it's just kind of like, it's tough. Arkansas is tough with all the trees and everything. People couldn't see what was coming, and there was a lot of damage, a lot of destruction, and just an all-around big mess.
And it's standard for, well, me, I don't want to say the entire teams under Southwest Storm Chasers, 6 months, for 6 months after a close call incident, especially somewhere like in Arkansas where it was totally preventable, but it just happened. For 6 months, we do nothing but investigate the incident, find out, like, this is what we did wrong, this is what we can do to prevent it, and this and that. So we won't chase within 50 miles of a certain point of where that happened. And as you saw, yeah, because I said my team, we wouldn't chase within 50 miles of Little last Wednesday, and that's the reason we got too close. And we said, if there's going to be anything, we don't want to be too close. And again, there was stuff. Wednesday night, there was stuff just to the southeast of Little Rock.
No, that was actually a smart decision, because I dropped south into those. There was three warnings, all kind of lined up right together, and I ended up intercepting the middle one. It was almost pitch black 'cause it's dark out. There was trees in the road, and I had a couple of close calls, and I kind of just bailed out. The storm motion was too fast and too dark and too wooded, and it's just not a great area to be in to chase.
But I do have to say, on April 14th, we did luck out incredibly with our team. We had a team in Tulsa which got the Baxter Springs tornado, we had a team that was in Kansas City that got the one along the Kansas-Missouri border, and then we were in Mayflower and caught one there. So we lucked out that day and caught all 3 tornadoes of the day, but it came with a cost. It came with us having to repair the car that I was in at a cost of almost $4,000 for 2 blown tires and 3 new brake pads. So it came at a cost, and definitely after that I had, and I do admit to this because we did chase the next day, that one night when we were driving to Mississippi, I had a few nightmares reminding me of El Reno and what happened then, and that was another case of we got a little bit too close. We came within a mile, and we were very close to Tim's position, and we knew that where he was, we were about there 2 minutes before him, blasting 90 east. So definitely gave me memories of that and saying, it's another example of coming too close and makes me question doing it. What? Oh, wait. How many eyes do we have looking at us now, Quincy? That's 6, 9, 13? 14, 15. 15 counting the real eyes.
So, just you guys have got a lot of fascinating stories, and I'm sitting there listening to your guys' history. It kind of makes me.
I don't think it's fascinating.
Since I only
what I think it is
no,
I think
I think you need
it's signs
I think you need
we
15
need
years to
therapy.
tell all of our stories, not 15 eyes.
I think what it means is by these stories, I think it means that we need therapy.
Yeah, you want to hear therapy? I've driven about 60,000 miles this year, just mostly storm chasing.
How close are you to 100,000 miles?
No, let's see.
I only chase here.
What's that? You only chasing your time zone?
I only.
Can I implement
I only chase here in Ohio.
Are we chasing your time zone?
And that's
I had a storm chase in Ohio this year. It was back in it was early in the season. I think it was early in May or something.
With the Champaign County, I got a good picture from. Here, I'll share that with you real quick. Okay, while I'm pulling it up, let me get my 4 eyes. Let me get my 15 eyes off. Okay, I'll get my 15 eyes off for you real quick, and then there they went. And I'll show you the picture I'll share that with you real quick.
Brutal murder of 13 eyes. Yeah. Well, 13 eyes are now all dead. Coming to you live next FR with Reed Timmer. Reed Timmer live with Maria Molina on the tragic death of 13 eyes on the South Florida Storm Chasers fundraising episode.
You know what? Okay. All right.
We now go to Quincy about this.
I'm just trying to.
Considering he watched the brutal murder. Quincy.
Oh, you are just hilarious, aren't you?
I should be a comedian. Can I quit storm chasing and become a comedian? You know what? I'm going to become the storm chasing comedian.
Oof, I don't know.
I'll get a flatbed truck, and as we're chasing, I'll be standing at the back with the microphone, like this. Alright, guys, so, 2 guys walked into a bar. Not in my tornado, they said.
Alright,
crappy humor. All storm chasers love
Quincy, this is the.
Oh, nice.
This is the. That's the wall cloud I got from the Champagne tornado.
Not bad.
I mean, I understand, I could have got a better picture from without that pole and that wire there, but it's like I had to pull in somebody's yard and get on my hood just to take the darn picture because the corn was so big. But I did what I could.
No, that's pretty cool. That's fine. I have a good picture from the day of the Pilgrims, and I have it right in the middle too. So sometimes in the heat of the moment, it happens. So
I feel left out here. I don't have any pictures to
So,
share. Wait, I do. Look at this.
I mean, it was like,
I don't want to be left
well, this
out.
day was kind of interesting, Quincy. We was actually, I was chasing in one area, and we started out there, and then it was like 2 o'clock. Me and Morgan just didn't see nothing. We just called it a day.
No.
Then all of a sudden, I go home at 3 o'clock.
No.
He's texting me.
No, we didn't call it a day.
No.
You called it a day. I complained to you.
busted.
Okay, I'll take it back. I called it a day because I had to get my cousin back, and I also had work that day. I'll take it back. My apologies to you, Morgan.
That's
But
better.
but
Love
then
you.
But anyway, then this morning just popped out of nowhere, and this is what we found. So that's what sucks about my job. 'Cause my shift starts at 6, and when the best time when they all start happening. So, and it's hard for me to chase at times. So, but that's what I got.
I have nothing to share, so I feel left out.
I don't know how to share pictures if I could.
Again, Morgan, my apologies to you.
That's damn right.
You know what? Don't make me put on something. You know what? I'm gonna download some more apps here, and I'm gonna give you the scariest face you've ever seen.
Are you gonna put it on yourself, or are you gonna put it on me? Because you did that in an episode of the podcast, and I didn't notice for 20 minutes.
What? We were supposed to be, fundraising, and we ended
Fundraising.
up doing.
We're supposed to be
I'm doing a
fundraising.
bunch.
We're supposed to be fundraising, and I haven't talked about it once. So, to everybody watching, we have some great reward levels. I would love and appreciate it. I would love you guys indefinitely, and I don't love very easily. I love you people.
I think he's been up all day.
All right. Well, with that said, Morgan, I want to thank you, and thanks, Chris, for inviting me on, and it's been a really fun discussion. And
You're welcome.
Yeah, we'll let Quincy go before it gets too weird.
yeah, I have to hide.
That 10 o'clock time when I start getting extremely weird because I haven't slept. Or eaten, for that matter. So, we'll let you go, Quincy. Thank you for joining us. You were a great guest, and we'd love to see you back sometime in Season 2. Maybe some more interesting stories. Maybe, we can have a live therapy session. You and I can both be a part of it.
I might need
we'll
it after
have a
seeing all these
doctor.
eyes over here.
You'll be dreaming of that tonight. Like, oh, watching
I think I
me.
need a little therapy too.
They are all watching me.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Good luck with everything.
All right. Bye, Quincy.
Goodbye,
Thank you for
Quincy.
joining
Good
us.
night. Yeah, bye.
Well, that's like the definition of interesting right there. That's like a great
Dude.
episode of the podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, we're kind of spiced up, man. Make it a little more funny, and we talk about topics and just throw in some stuff to make people laugh, and
Yeah, I do have to say to everybody,
I've got this new software I'm going to use.
I do love comedy. To everybody watching, I do
What?
love comedy. Comedy is fucking awesome. But I do have a problem because around 10 o'clock is when I probably shouldn't be doing a podcast because I will say something crazy. I'm a maniac. I'm crazy. I'm
No,
a
you won't.
crazy maniac.
Anyway, everybody, this is one of our first of two podcasts we'll be doing for our fundraising event.
This is actually pretty
We're
smart
trying
of you to
to
be doing this. It's like really smart of you to be.
what?
It's smart of you to be talking about it instead of me because I'm totally out of it.
Really?
What? What do you expect?
You're not a night owl, are you?
You want to see something?
You're not a night owl. You're not a night person, are you?
Oh, hell no. What do you think I do when we're chasing? I only chase
I'm-
during the day for a reason. I don't chase night storms for a reason. That'd be dumb of me. I'd turn around and I'd see three
You know, I
tornadoes.
don't.
Like, we gotta get out of here! Oh my goodness. Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh, we
It's
are
alright.
doing a fundraiser. We're doing a fundraiser. We actually have many great rewards, like he had said. You can go check on our GoFundMe account, actually Morgan's GoFundMe account, and raise money for equipment. You know, he's just explained on here, he's thinking about doing some new radar technology. So, or maybe possibly getting a new chase vehicle. He is trying to help people out by doing research and
Yeah, it's all
trying
for you
to
guys.
maybe help in the future.
I don't profit
Trying to
from
help
this at
you
all.
find, and
I'm very poor.
yeah, but you're
I
gathering,
hate you guys.
dude. You are
I
gathering.
hate you all.
See,
Much.
it is 10 o'clock. It is 10 o'clock, and you're doing it.
I will go crazy. As simple as that, and I can get close to the camera now, which is awesome. But anyway, I do have to say, here's a good thing. Next episode, we will be having on Dr. James Jockbow from Florida Atlantic University. He is a psychologist. He is actually the professor for psychology at Florida Atlantic University, so we will be having him on. Goddamn, you and your bleeping eyes. Like, can I rage quit? I'm the host of this podcast. If I quit, this podcast ends. If I literally just
No,
press the end call,
No.
it doesn't even matter anymore.
no,
The podcast just
No.
ends.
no.
I can be
I need
like that.
Maybe I need to speak to that doctor guy.
I think we both do. I think for that matter, we all need to speak to him. We'll bring like all the guests we've had on who are storm
Right.
chasers. We'll bring on Kevin Martin. We'll be like, Kevin, speak to this guy, please. Trust me, a lot of people hate your ass.
Oh man, you know, I know. I mean, we having him in season 2.
Sadly, yes. Yes, we are. That
You
is
know,
an announcement.
I haven't heard any response. I
Oh,
haven't
no,
heard any
Kevin's-
response from
no.
Eric. Well,
Kevin has fled the United States. I don't
no,
know
he
where
has
the hell.
not.
I don't know where the hell he went, but he took down the Facebook page, his personal Facebook, his Google Plus account. I think he still has the Twitter though. But he has fled the United States.
And
Hey, Kevin, since
that's
I know
getting
you're
ready.
watching
You
this,
think he left?
what do you mean? I'm supposed to be looking at the camera, not you.
Huh?
In the ass. What do you mean?
Why is my thing backwards?
You don't have a thingamajig. If you're talking about the one I can't see. You don't have it.
I died.
It's not there. You died?
I know. I'm getting ready to turn it. I'm dead.
He's dead. Oh my god. It's
Oh.
Night of the Living Dead Storm Chaser Edition.
Oh yeah, sure. There you go. I'm back.
You guys have to remember, I can control this
Morgan.
microphone all I want. Alright, so,
Well,
yes, next week we will be having Dr. Jock Bauer of Florida Atlantic University, professor of psychology there to discuss how storms affect people's psycho. The bloody hell are you doing, mate? Jesus Christ. If you're super religious, I meant that in a totally positive way. as if I'm praying. Which, if you see my hands are crossed, so I am. Well, he's lost his mind and is presumably drunk as hell. Anyway, we will be having Dr. James Jockbow of Florida Atlantic University on with us next week, and maybe other special guests. Trust me, I'm a freak. You guys don't know what I have planned. I have so much planned for this. And it is looking more and more likely that at ChaserCon 2015, if you guys support our GoFundMe campaign, I will be hosting a live panel discussion podcast from the DoubleTree in Denver, where ChaserCon is being held, featuring multiple very well-known storm chasers. And then Chris, of course. I can't forget Chris. How could I forget Chris? He's my little Chrissy Wissy.
Oh my God.
It's all
The
right.
reason I can't go is because it's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day.
Day.
Hashtag
I can't.
like this video if you're single.
And-
Haha. Poor Chris, he isn't. I am, he
Well,
isn't.
in 2 hours,
He's like, in 2 hours I will be.
and in 2 hours. No. In 2 hours, I've been married 9 years in 2 hours. 9 years.
9 years.
Thank you.
In 2 hours, what you can remember. That is
So-
2 stabs per year with an ice pick.
Oh,
Die,
but
die.
so you know,
The end.
1 year I'll get to ChaserCon. Is ChaserCon always held in Denver? Always.
No, next year it's held in Oklahoma City. Next year.
But then so it's either Oklahoma or Denver. Oklahoma or Denver.
No, I think they're gonna go this year Denver, next year Oklahoma City. After that, maybe back to Denver. I think maybe they're looking at St. Louis too. And a couple of other places too that they haven't really announced yet that I can't talk about.
So it kind of stays in a tornado alley zone, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it kind of stays where you can
Okay.
do it to remember Tim Samaras. You know, the great.
True.
A lot of respect to Tim. Tim is amazing.
Yeah,
He was an
the
amazing
great guy.
Rest in peace.
I pray for his family. He got 3 great chasers. Lost to the El Reno tornado. Rest in peace. But he died, like people were saying on the internet. He died doing what he loved. So,
anyway,
Morgan?
I think we'll be ending this podcast before I go even more crazy and Chris gets even more drunk. What the hell are you pointing at?
we went on it too long, man.
Hey, it's only 2.5 hours.
Oh, here we go.
It's only 2.5 hours. We should have been doing this
Well,
for longer. Goddamn people who canceled.
Well, we need to do for the next one.
The next
I know
one
we're still live, but we need.
The next one we're gonna have like 6
Yeah,
special
we need-
guests. We're gonna do this until like 3 o'clock in the morning.
What?
Be like, oh my god, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm a maniac. I'm a maniac. You can never expect something from me.
Morgan,
What?
you cannot stay up till 3 in the morning. You never
I
can stay up till 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I can.
Unless you're reading the radar.
Give me like 3 Red Bulls, 2 shots of 5-hour energy, and strawberries, and I'll be up until flipping 5.
And 1 major heart attack.
Nah, it's not 1 major heart attack. It's only like 4 minor ones, and then, clear! Now, Chris does that for a living.
Alright.
Alright, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, 4. Clear! That easy.
All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and end the podcast.
Tim Tebow.
Do your thing, dude. Oh God, that lousy quarterback. Oh,
Alrighty.
I'm sorry.
You know what the hell I'm looking at. You know when I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at you. That's good because he knows that the camera.
I figured you would be.
Moron. A lot of love though.
Well, Tim
Well-
Tebow, when he played for Florida, he kicked butt. He really did.
I don't know
The Gators.
why, but the NFL has gotten
Who's the other one?
extremely religious, and it's pissing me off. And yes, this is a weather podcast. I am now talking about sports. Did you see Russell Wilson led a group prayer session when they played the Washington Redskins? This is football. You're supposed to be tackling each other in the name of God, not praying and holding hands. It's like, all right, guys, all right, I know we're on separate teams, but I secretly love all of you. Please meet me in the shower after the game.
You better hope he didn't hear this.
Who?
You better hope he didn't hear that.
Who? Russell Wilson? I think I care.
Well,
Dangerous.
yeah, I mean-
You know, my name's Russell Wilson and I'm dangerous. Dangerous.
We haven't.
He sounds like a goddamn song.
Oh well.
Dangerous. Dangerous. I'm so dangerous. Dangerous. I can't sing for that matter. But I'm making fun of Russell Wilson. Russell, if you find this offensive, please don't kill me. Kill Chris. He brought it up. Alright, I'm going to end the podcast here before we go too far off track. So, big thank you, everybody. I will leave our last special fundraising offer on until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then I will change it, and we will have another special offer. And trust me, this one's only going to last 5 hours. And you're going to want to pay attention. It's big. Big. Big in that really nice matter.
Wake up.
Size matters in meteorology, I can tell you that. But, I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. A big thank you to Quincy for joining us also. He was a great special guest. What a great attitude. What a great guy overall. Love chasing with them. Love talking with them. And, he, definitely looked to run into him out in the field again. And maybe Chris will run out into the field with him with his 45 flippin' eyes. So, big thank you, and we will end the podcast here at 2.5 hours. God damn, you're losing your mind. You're losing your mind. So, big thank you to everybody.
It's been 3 hours. This thing was.
Hey, 2.5. Shut up. Big thanks to everybody.
Okay.
And we look forward to seeing you on the 21st is our next fundraising episode, which will be our last fundraising episode before Season 2 starts in November. I'm looking at November 4th to be starting Season 2 of the podcast. So we need as much help from you guys as we can get in the next few weeks to help us reach or get near our goal. And we cannot do it without you. So a big thank you from me, Morgan Guigon, owner and founder of South Florida Storm Chasers, and Chris. Chris, owner and founder of Fucks Around a Lot. For your participation and all the great things you guys have done with us. So, from me to you, I'd like to thank you for joining us. And let me make sure you guys didn't comment on the video.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to seeing you again on October 1st. So thank you, and good night.